The slap echoed through the gallery like a gunshot. For 3 seconds, nobody moved. 200 of Seoul's elite stood frozen, champagne glasses suspended mid-air, conversations dying on perfectly glossed lips. Bella Okonkwo's palm stung, but not as much as the rage burning through her chest. The woman in front of her, draped in diamonds and designer silk, touched her reddening cheek with manicured fingers, shock melting into something far more dangerous. Bella didn't care. All she could see was her grandmother's necklace, 3 strands of 19th-century Edo coral beads with that unmistakable silver adinkra clasp, hanging around this stranger's throat like a trophy. The same necklace that had been stolen from her hotel safe 3 days ago. The same necklace her great-grandmother had hidden in her clothes during the Benin expedition, the only thing that survived when everything else was taken. "You stupid bitch," the woman hissed in perfect English, her accent crisp and cold. "Do you have any idea what you've just done?" "Who I am?" Bella stepped closer, her voice shaking but clear. "I know exactly what you are. A thief wearing my family's history like it's some accessory you picked up at a boutique." The woman's eyes narrowed. She said something in rapid Korean, and suddenly 4 large men in dark suits materialized from the crowd, moving toward Bella with purpose. Dr. Kim Sunjae, the museum curator who'd gotten Bella into this exclusive event, grabbed her arm, his face pale with terror. "We need to leave," he whispered urgently in her ear. "Right now, Bella. These people, they're not." "Stop." One word, spoken quietly, almost casually, but it cut through the tension like a blade through silk. The security men froze. The crowd parted without anyone seeming to consciously move, creating a pathway through the center of the gallery. And through that pathway walked a man who made Bella's breath catch despite everything. He was tall, over 6 feet, wearing a Tom Ford suit that probably cost more than her entire year's salary. Early 30s, with a face like carved stone, sharp jawline, eyes so dark they seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it. A thin scar ran from his left ear down his neck, disappearing beneath his collar. But it wasn't his looks that made the room hold its collective breath. It was the way he moved, controlled and deliberate, like a predator who'd never once questioned his place at the top of the food chain. Every step he took toward them felt like a countdown. Before you find out what happens next, do me a favor. If you're already hooked by this story, hit that like button right now. Drop a comment telling me if you think Bella just made the biggest mistake of her life or the bravest decision. And subscribe because trust me, this story gets so much wilder. Now let's get back to what happened in that gallery. The man, Ji-hoon, didn't take his eyes off Bella as he reached toward the woman's neck. The woman, clearly his fiancée based on the massive engagement ring on her finger, clutched the necklace protectively. "Ji-hoon, you can't possibly believe this random." "Mina." His voice dropped several degrees. "Let go." Mina's hands fell away as if burned. He removed the necklace carefully, holding it up to the light. Bella watched him examine the chip she'd mentioned, saw his fingers find the hidden hinge in the clasp that most people would never notice. He opened it with a soft click that seemed impossibly loud in the silent gallery, and read the inscription inside. "What does this phrase mean?" he asked, still looking at the necklace. Bella swallowed hard. "My great-grandmother survived the Benin expedition in 1897. The British took everything. Burned our history, stole our art, destroyed our temples. She hid pieces of coral in her clothes, made this necklace from what she saved. She engraved those words because she believed faith would restore what was stolen." Bella's voice cracked. She was wrong. But my grandmother kept believing anyway. Kept this necklace as proof that some things survive, even when everything else is taken. Something flickered in Ji-hoon's eyes. He closed the clasp carefully, held the necklace for another moment, then turned to Mina. When he spoke in Korean, his tone was cold enough to frost glass. Bella didn't understand the words, but she understood the finality in them. Mina's face went from confident to pale in seconds. "No," Mina said, switching to English, her voice rising. "Ji-hoon, please, we can discuss this privately. Don't do this here, not in front of everyone. We can." "This engagement," Ji-hoon said, still in Korean but loud enough for the entire gallery to hear, "is terminated." Effective immediately, the gallery erupted. Gasps, whispers, the sound of someone's champagne glass hitting the floor. Mina's face contorted with rage and humiliation. She lunged toward Ji-hoon, but those 4 security men who'd been moving toward Bella seconds ago now formed a wall between Mina and Ji-hoon. "You bastard!" Mina screamed. "My father will destroy you for this. Do you know what you've done? 5 years of negotiations, 5 years of peace between our families, and you're throwing it away for this nobody." Ji-hoon turned back to Bella. He placed the necklace in her hands, and for just a second, his fingers brushed against hers. His hands were cold, marked with scars she didn't have time to examine. "This belongs to you," he said simply. Bella stood there, clutching the necklace, her mind struggling to process what had just happened. Around them, the gallery had transformed into chaos. Min-ah was screaming in Korean, her voice shrill and desperate. More men in suits appeared, some clearly aligned with Min-ah, others positioning themselves near Ji-hoon. The tension in the room felt like a wire pulled too tight, ready to snap. Dr. Kim grabbed Bella's elbow, trying to pull her toward the exit. "We need to leave now. Bella, please, this is not safe." But Ji-hoon's voice cut through the noise again. "Dr. Kim, will take you back to your hotel. Stay there until you hear from me." Bella found her voice, though it came out shakier than she wanted. "Hear from you? Why would I hear from you? I got what I came for." Something that might have been amusement crossed Ji-hoon's face. Because Min-ah was right about one thing. Her family won't let this go. And whether you intended to or not, Miss Okonkwo, you just made yourself a target. He paused, glancing at the necklace in her hands. That phrase your great-grandmother chose. Faith moves mountains. She understood something important. But faith without strategy just moves you into danger. Remember that. Before Bella could respond, Dr. Kim was pulling her through the crowd, past staring faces and whispered conversations. She caught glimpses of Min-ah being restrained by her own security, of Ji-hoon standing perfectly still in the center of the storm he'd just created, and then they were outside in the cold Seoul night air. Dr. Kim's hands shook as he opened his car door. He was muttering in Korean, periodically lapsing into English. Oh God, this is bad. This is so bad. Do you understand what just happened in there?" Bella slid into the passenger seat, still gripping the necklace. "I got my grandmother's jewelry back. You ended an engagement between the Kong and Choi families." Dr. Kim's voice cracked as he started the engine, pulling into Seoul's nighttime traffic with more speed than skill. "That engagement was a treaty, Bella. 5 years of negotiation. It kept the peace between Seoul's two most powerful crime organizations." The word, crime, made everything click into place. The armed security, the deference everyone showed Ji-hoon, the fear in Dr. Kim's eyes. "He's Mafia," Bella said flatly. "The Kong family controls half of Seoul's underground. Art trafficking, money laundering, they have politicians and police in their pockets. And the Choi family." Dr. Kim swerved around a taxi, earning an angry horn blast. "They're worse. More violent. Less refined. Min-ah is Choi Dae-young's only daughter. Her father is not a man who forgives humiliation." Bella's hands tightened on the necklace. "So what does that mean for me?" "It means you need to leave Korea. Tonight. Now. Don't go back to your hotel. Don't collect your things. I'll drive you straight to the airport, and you can." "I can't leave." Bella's voice was firm despite the fear crawling up her spine. "I have 6 more days of work at the museum. And I still need to sell the rest of my grandmother's collection. My mother's surgery is scheduled, Dr. Kim. I need that money." Dr. Kim pulled over abruptly, the car jerking to a stop in a no-parking zone. He turned to face her, and Bella had never seen him look so serious. "Listen to me very carefully. Your mother will not benefit from that surgery if you're dead. The Choi family will retaliate. Maybe not tonight, maybe not tomorrow, but they will make an example of you. That's how this world works." Bella felt her Nigerian stubbornness rising, the same trait that had made her slap Min-ah in the first place. "Then I'll be careful. I'll stay in my hotel, I'll finish my work, and I'll leave. 1 week, that's all I need. You don't understand." "No, you don't understand." Bella's voice shook with emotion. "My mother has 6 months to live without treatment. 6 months. I came to Seoul because this job and these jewelry sales are my only chance to save her. I'm not running home empty-handed because some spoiled rich woman wore something that didn't belong to her." Dr. Kim stared at her for a long moment, then sighed, defeated. "You're either the bravest person I've ever met or the most foolish. I genuinely can't tell which." He pulled back into traffic. "I'll take you to your hotel. But Bella, please, lock your door. Don't open it for anyone. And if anything at all feels wrong, you call me immediately." They drove the rest of the way in tense silence. When they pulled up to the Shilla Hotel's entrance, Dr. Kim grabbed her arm one last time. "Promise me you'll be careful." "I promise," Bella said, though she wasn't sure it was a promise she could keep. Her hotel room was on the 18th floor, a small but elegant space she'd been so excited about when she first checked in 5 days ago. Now, as she unlocked the door and stepped inside, it felt different. Exposed. She immediately engaged the deadbolt, the chain lock, everything. She sat on the bed, finally allowing herself to really look at her grandmother's necklace in the light. The coral beads gleamed, each one slightly different in shade and size, hand-selected and strung together over a century ago. She opened the clasp, read the Yoruba inscription her great-grandmother had carefully engraved. "Faith moves mountains." "Did faith move this mountain, Grandma?" Bella whispered to the empty room. "Or did I just start an avalanche?" Her phone buzzed. A text from her mother in Lagos. "How is Seoul? Have you eaten? The doctors say my blood work is improving. I feel hopeful, my daughter. Bella's eyes burned with tears she refused to let fall. She typed back, Seoul is beautiful, Mama. The museum work is going well. Everything will be fine. I love you. She was about to set the phone down when it buzzed again. Unknown number. Unknown country code. Her finger hovered over the message for several seconds before she opened it. We need to talk. Tomorrow, 10 a.m., Cafe Onion in Seoul. Come alone. This is not a request. KJH. Bella's heart hammered in her chest. KJH Kong Ji-hoon. How did he get her number? What did he want? And why did part of her, despite everything, want to go? If you're wondering whether Bella should meet this dangerous man or run for her life, drop a comment below. Would you go to that meeting? And keep watching because what Ji-hoon tells her will change everything. Don't forget to like this video if you're invested in Bella's story. She didn't sleep that night. Every sound in the hallway made her jump. Every notification on her phone made her pulse spike. She researched the Kong family on her laptop, finding vague references in Korean news articles, society page photos of Ji-hoon at charity galas and art exhibitions, always looking polished and untouchable. Nothing about crime. Nothing concrete. Everything carefully curated. At 9:30 the next morning, Bella stood in front of her hotel mirror, trying to decide what one wore to meet a mafia boss. She'd settled on simple black jeans, a cream blouse, and her grandmother's necklace visible around her neck. A reminder of why she was here. A reminder that she'd already survived one impossible situation. The taxi ride to Seoul took 20 minutes through morning traffic. Cafe Onion turned out to be an industrial chic space in a converted factory building, all exposed brick and high ceilings. It was busy with Seoul's young creative class, laptops open, conversations flowing in Korean and English. Bella spotted Ji-hoon immediately, sitting at a corner table far from the windows, positioned so he could see every entrance and exit. He stood when she approached, a gesture that surprised her. He was dressed more casually than the night before, black sweater and dark jeans, but he still carried that same aura of controlled danger. Two men in suits sat at a nearby table, their eyes constantly scanning the room. Miss Okonkwo, thank you for coming. He gestured to the chair across from him. Coffee. They make an excellent Ethiopian pour-over here. Bella sat, keeping her purse close. How did you get my number? I own 3 hotels in Seoul, including the Shilla. Getting a guest's contact information is not difficult. He signaled to a server, ordered in Korean, then returned his attention to Bella. You're wondering why I asked you here. Among other questions, yes. A slight smile touched his lips. You're direct. I appreciate that. In my world, everyone speaks in circles, hints, and implications. It's exhausting. In my world, we say what we mean. It saves time. Nigerian directness. It's refreshing. The coffee arrived, and Ji-hoon waited until the server left before continuing. I need to explain what happened last night. What it means for you. Dr. Kim already explained. I ended your engagement, started a war between crime families, and now I'm a target. Did I miss anything? Ji-hoon's eyebrows rose slightly. Dr. Kim was thorough, but he doesn't know everything. The situation is more complicated than he realizes. Bella wrapped her hands around the warm coffee cup, needing something to do with the nervous energy coursing through her. Then explain it to me. Why did you end your engagement over a necklace? Why not just return it privately and avoid all this drama? Because it wasn't about the necklace. Ji-hoon leaned back in his chair, his expression unreadable. Minna has been stealing from me for 8 months. High-value pieces from my private collection, sold through shadow channels. Art, antiquities, jewelry. She's been funneling money to a secret account in Singapore. Bella's coffee cup paused halfway to her lips. You knew she was stealing? I've known for 3 months. I've been gathering evidence, tracking the sales, building a case. But ending the engagement wasn't simple. Our families spent 5 years negotiating that alliance. Breaking it without cause would have triggered exactly the kind of war Dr. Kim described. So you needed a public excuse. I needed undeniable proof of her character. Theft from a third party, especially a foreign victim, gives me justification the Choi family can't easily dispute without losing face themselves. Ji-hoon's eyes locked on hers. When hotel security footage showed Minna's assistant entering your room, I investigated. Found your jewelry in her private storage unit, along with 24 other stolen items. Bella's mind raced, connecting the pieces. You were going to return my things and use it as your excuse to end the engagement. Eventually, yes. But then you showed up at the gallery, saw the necklace, and slapped her in front of 200 witnesses. Something that might have been admiration flickered in his expression. You gave me something better than a quiet accusation. You gave me a public confrontation, an emotional foreign victim, and undeniable evidence. Minna couldn't deny the necklace was yours, not with that inscription, that chip, those specific details only the true owner would know. Bella set her cup down carefully. So I was convenient. You were brave. Ji-hoon's voice softened slightly. Do you know what most people do when they see something valuable that was taken from them in the possession of someone powerful? They look away. They tell themselves they were mistaken. They protect themselves. You didn't. You stood up to someone you thought could destroy you for something that mattered. That kind of courage is rare. Courage or stupidity? Dr. Kim seems to think it's the latter. The line between the two is often very thin. Ji-hoon paused as someone walked past their table, waiting until they were out of earshot. I asked you here because you deserve to understand the full situation, and because I need to offer you something. Bella's stomach tightened. What kind of offer? The rest of your grandmother's collection. I have it. All 9 pieces. Bella's breath caught. You have them. Ji-hoon pulled out his phone, swiped through several photos, then turned the screen toward her. There they were. Her grandmother's bronze bracelets, the coral earrings, the amber pendant, the silver anklets, all carefully photographed against a neutral background. Bella's eyes burned with tears she refused to shed in front of this man. Where did you get these? From Mina's storage unit. I retrieved them last night after the gallery incident. He put the phone away. They're at my private office. I can have them delivered to your hotel today. It was too easy, too generous. Bella had learned long ago that when something seemed too good to be true, there was always a catch. What do you want in return? Your testimony. If this goes to court, if the Choi family tries to dispute the broken engagement, I need you to authenticate these pieces as yours. Provide documentation, prove they were stolen. That's all. Ji-hoon's expression grew more serious. No, that's not all. I need you to accept my protection. Protection from what? From the Choi family's retaliation. Mina's father, Choi Dae-young, is not a reasonable man. His daughter was humiliated publicly. His family's honor was damaged. He'll want revenge, but he can't target me directly without starting a full-scale war. So he'll look for a softer target. The implication hung in the air between them. Bella felt ice settle in her stomach. Me? You're a foreigner, no political connections, no family protection in Korea. In his eyes, you're perfect for making an example. Ji-hoon's voice was matter-of-fact, laying out the reality without cushioning it. My security has already identified Choi family surveillance outside your hotel. They're watching you, learning your patterns, waiting for orders. Bella's hands trembled slightly, and she hid them in her lap. What kind of protection are you offering? Full security detail. My men will accompany you everywhere. Ensure your safety until this situation is resolved. You finish your museum work, sell your grandmother's collection through my contacts. I'll get you 3 times market value, and then you return to Nigeria with enough money for your mother's treatment and your own future security. And how long would this protection last? 2 weeks. Maybe 3. Long enough for me to neutralize the Choi family's threat. There it was, the word that made everything clear. Neutralize. This wasn't just about protection. This was about Ji-hoon using her as leverage in whatever game he was playing with the Choi family. Bella wasn't naive. She'd grown up in Lagos, navigated corrupt officials and dangerous streets. She recognized a transaction when she saw one. Are you thinking what I'm thinking? Is Ji-hoon really trying to protect Bella, or is he using her as a pawn? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And smash that subscribe button because this story is about to get even more intense. What does neutralize mean exactly? Bella asked, her voice steady despite the fear crawling up her spine. Ji-hoon studied her for a moment, as if deciding how much truth to share. It means I dismantle Choi Dae-young's operation piece by piece until he has bigger problems than avenging his daughter's embarrassment. I have evidence of his illegal activities, connections to prosecutors who owe me favors, and leverage he doesn't know I possess. Within 3 weeks, he'll be too busy saving himself to worry about you. So I'm bait, and I want to speak with someone who's worked with your family before. Someone who can verify that you actually honor your agreements. Ji-hoon's lips curved into something that might have been respect. I can arrange that. My lawyer, Mrs. Song, has worked with foreign clients before. She's American educated, speaks perfect English, and has no loyalty to me beyond professional obligation. She'll answer your questions honestly. When can I meet her? This afternoon if you'd like. I'll have her come to your hotel. Ji-hoon signaled for the check, pulling out a black credit card. In the meantime, my men will begin security protocols immediately. There are 2 already positioned outside this cafe. They'll escort you back to your hotel. Bella glanced toward the windows, spotting 2 men in dark suits standing near a black Mercedes. They hadn't been there when she arrived, or maybe she just hadn't noticed. The realization that Ji-hoon had already assigned security, had already assumed she'd agree, irritated her. You were very confident I'd say yes. I was confident you're intelligent enough to recognize when you need help. Pride is admirable, Miss Okonkwo, but survival is better. He stood, buttoning his jacket. One more thing. Your grandmother's necklace. You should keep it somewhere secure. Not wear it publicly. Bella's hand instinctively went to the beads at her throat. Why? Because it's the physical evidence that started all of this. If something were to happen to it, if it were to be damaged or go missing again, your testimony loses credibility. Minna's lawyers would argue you made the whole story up. So I can't even wear my own grandmother's necklace. Not for 3 weeks. After that, you can do whatever you want. Wear it every day, sleep in it. I won't care because you'll be back in Nigeria, and this will all be a story you tell at dinner parties. Bella stood as well, slipping the contract into her purse. I haven't agreed yet. I want to meet your lawyer first, read this contract thoroughly, and make sure I'm not signing away my life. Of course, Mrs. Song will be at your hotel at 3 p.m. Ji-hoon extended his hand for a handshake. Bella hesitated, then took it. His grip was firm, his hand still marked with those scars she'd noticed the night before. Miss Okonkwo, I know you don't trust me. I wouldn't trust me either in your position. But understand this. I keep my word. Always. It's the only currency that matters in my world. They walked out of the cafe together, Ji-hoon's security immediately flanking them. The street was busy with afternoon shoppers and cafe-goers, everything looking normal and safe. But Bella could feel eyes on her, could sense the undercurrent of danger beneath Seoul's polished surface. One of Ji-hoon's men opened the Mercedes door for her. Before she got in, Ji-hoon spoke one more time. Your great-grandmother's phrase. Faith moves mountains. She was right about that. But she learned something else too, didn't she? That sometimes you need more than faith. Sometimes you need strategy, allies, and the willingness to do difficult things to protect what matters. Bella met his eyes, saw something there she hadn't expected. Understanding. Not sympathy, but recognition. Like he'd also learned hard lessons about survival. My great-grandmother also used to say that when you dance with the devil, you better be a good dancer, Bella replied. I hope you're as good as you think you are, Mr. Kong. So do I, Miss Okonkwo. So do I. The ride back to her hotel took 15 minutes. The two security men, who introduced themselves simply as Park and Lee, were professional and quiet. They swept her hotel room before letting her enter, checked the windows, the locks, even the bathroom. It felt invasive and necessary at the same time. At exactly 3 p.m., there was a knock on her door. Park checked through the peephole, then opened it to reveal an elegant woman in her 50s, wearing a perfectly tailored navy suit, carrying a leather briefcase. Miss Okonkwo, I'm Catherine Song. Mr. Kong asked me to meet with you. Her English was flawless, her accent American. May I come in? What would you do in Bella's position? Trust the lawyer? Sign the contract? Let me know in the comments below. And if you're hooked on this story, hit that like button now. Bella gestured for her to enter. Mrs. Song set her briefcase on the desk, pulled out a second copy of the contract along with several other documents. Before we discuss the security agreement, I want to establish something clearly, Mrs. Song said, her tone businesslike but not unkind. I work for the Kong family, but I'm also an officer of the court. I won't help you do anything illegal, and I won't lie to you about the risks you're taking. Do you understand? Yes. Good. Now, let's talk about what you're actually agreeing to. For the next 90 minutes, Mrs. Song walked Bella through every clause, every implication, every potential consequence. She explained Korean law, the limitations of police protection for foreign nationals, the reality of organized crime retaliation. She was thorough, honest, and increasingly concerning. The most important thing you need to understand, Mrs. Song said, pulling out a separate document, is that this protection is real, but it comes with complications. The Kong family has extensive resources, but they also have enemies. By accepting Ji-hoon's protection, you're publicly aligning yourself with his family. That makes you untouchable to the Choi family, but it also makes you a person of interest to law enforcement, rival organizations, and anyone else watching the power dynamics in Seoul. Bella rubbed her temples, feeling a headache building. So I'm damned if I do, damned if I don't. Essentially, yes. But the degree of danger differs significantly. Without protection, you're an easy target. With protection, you're a complicated one. Complicated targets tend to survive longer. Mrs. Song's expression softened slightly. I've worked with Mr. Kong for 7 years. He has many flaws, but breaking his word isn't one of them. If he says he'll protect you for 3 weeks and facilitate your jewelry sales, he will. What about after? When I go back to Nigeria? That's covered in Clause 17. The protection extends to your immediate family for 6 months following your departure from Korea. Any retaliation against them would be considered a direct attack on the Kong family's honor. After 6 months, the Choi family will have moved on to other concerns. They're criminals, not obsessives. Bella picked up the pen Mrs. Song had placed on the desk, turning it over in her fingers. And the jewelry sales? How does that work? Mrs. Song pulled out another document, this one with photographs of each piece from Bella's grandmother's collection. Mr. Kong has contacts with several high-end collectors in Seoul, Tokyo, and Hong Kong. Based on authentication and current market values, he estimates total sales of approximately $380,000 US. That's substantially higher than you'd get through conventional auction houses, and it's immediate. Money transferred to your account within 48 hours of sale. Bella's breath caught. $380,000. More than double what she'd hoped for. Enough for her mother's surgery, the follow-up treatments, and security for her family for years. It was everything she needed and more. Why would he offer such a high price? Because he's not just buying jewelry. He's buying credibility. Every piece you sell through his network is documented, authenticated, legally transferred. It creates a paper trail proving Minna stole from you, strengthening his case against the Choi family. The premium price is compensation for your cooperation and the risk you're taking. Everything was transactional. Every kindness had a purpose. Bella understood that, had grown up understanding that nothing in this world came free. But at least Ji-hoon was honest about his motivations. At least he wasn't pretending this was charity. If I sign this, what happens next? You finish your museum contract over the next 6 days. Security accompanies you to and from work. You authenticate your grandmother's pieces, we process the sales, money gets transferred. During your free time, you stay at the hotel or move only with security clearance. After your museum contract ends, you have 2 options. Return to Nigeria immediately, or stay an additional week to provide testimony if the legal case against Minna and the Choi family moves forward. And if I choose to leave immediately? That's your right. The protection and money transfer happen regardless. But Mr. Kong would appreciate your testimony if possible. It's not required, just requested. Bella looked at the contract one more time, at all the clauses and subclauses, the legal language that essentially said she was trading 3 weeks of limited freedom for her mother's life and her family's safety. When she put it like that, the choice seemed obvious. She signed her name at the bottom, her handwriting looking small and fragile next to the official stamps and legal text. Mrs. Song witnessed the signature, added her own, then made copies of everything. You'll receive your set of all documents within the hour. My contact information is on my card. Call me anytime, day or night, if you have concerns or questions. I mean that literally, Miss Okonkwo. I've represented foreign clients in difficult situations before. I know how isolating it can feel. After Mrs. Song left, Bella sat on her hotel bed, staring at her copy of the contract. Her phone buzzed with a message from her mother. Another update about her improving blood work, about how she was feeling stronger, about her faith that God would provide for the surgery. Bella typed back, "The money is coming, Mama. I promise. Everything is going to be okay." She wanted to believe it. Wanted to believe that in 3 weeks she'd be back in Lagos, her mother recovering from successful surgery, this entire Korean nightmare just a strange memory. But something in her gut whispered that things were never that simple, that signing that contract had set something in motion she didn't fully understand yet. Her phone buzzed again, this time from Ji-hoon. "Mrs. Song confirmed you signed. Thank you for trusting the process. Your grandmother's collection will be delivered to your hotel safe within the hour. Security detail begins tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. Park and Lee will be your primary team. Sleep well, Miss Okonkwo. Sleep well." As if that were possible, Bella looked at her grandmother's necklace, now locked in the hotel safe along with her passport and other valuables. The beads that had survived a massacre, survived colonization, survived generations of struggle, now locked away for safety. She wondered what her great-grandmother would think of all this. Whether she'd be proud that Bella fought for what was hers, or horrified that she'd made a deal with dangerous men. The next 6 days passed in a strange rhythm. Bella worked at the museum, authenticating the African bead collection with meticulous care. Park and Lee were always present, subtle but unmistakable. Other museum staff noticed, whispered, but no one asked direct questions. Dr. Kim checked on her daily, his concern evident, but his relief also visible that she'd accepted protection. On day 4, Mrs. Song called with news. First sale completed. A collector in Tokyo purchased the bronze bracelets and coral earrings for $92,000. Money will be in your account by tomorrow. On day 6, 2 more pieces sold. The numbers in Bella's bank account climbed higher than she'd ever imagined. She transferred funds to the Lagos hospital, confirmed her mother's surgery date, and felt something close to hope for the first time in months. On day 7, her museum contract ended. Dr. Kim thanked her for her work, handed her a glowing reference letter, and hugged her goodbye with visible relief that she'd survived the week intact. That evening, alone in her hotel room with Park and Lee stationed outside her door, Bella received a text from Ji-hoon. Final pieces sold. Total deposited. $380,000. Your mother's surgery is confirmed. You're free to return to Nigeria whenever you choose. Or, if you're willing, I'd like to meet tomorrow evening. There's something I need to discuss. Your choice entirely. Bella stared at that message for a long time. She should book a flight, should pack her bags, and leave Korea behind. She had everything she came for and more. But that last line nagged at her. Something I need to discuss. What could Jihoon possibly need to discuss now that their arrangement was complete? Her finger hovered over the keyboard. Logic said to decline, to run while she still could. But curiosity, that dangerous trait that had gotten her into this situation in the first place, made her type, where and when. The response came immediately. My family estate. Tomorrow, 7 p.m. Driver will collect you at 6:30. Formal dinner. We're something nice. Bella's stomach nodded. A formal dinner at the Kong family estate. This wasn't a business meeting. This was something else entirely. She should say no. Every instinct screamed to say no. She typed, I'll be ready. So here's the question for you. Is Bella making another huge mistake? Should she go to this dinner or get on the next flight to Lagos? Drop your answer in the comments. And if you've made it this far in the story, you're clearly invested, so go ahead and hit that subscribe button, because what happens at that dinner will blow your mind. Give this video a like if you think Bella is either incredibly brave or incredibly stupid. Now let me tell you what happened next. The Kong family estate sat in the hills outside Seoul, hidden behind high walls and security gates. The drive took 40 minutes, winding through increasingly exclusive neighborhoods until they reached a property that looked more like a fortress than a home. Traditional Korean architecture mixed with modern security features, beautiful and intimidating in equal measure. Park opened her car door, and Bella stepped out wearing the one formal dress she'd brought to Korea, a deep emerald green that her mother had insisted she pack. You never know when you'll need to look professional, her mother had said. Bella doubted her mother had envisioned a dinner with a crime family when she'd given that advice. A woman in traditional hanbok greeted her at the entrance, bowing politely and gesturing for Bella to follow. They walked through corridors lined with art, some pieces Bella recognized as museum quality, others clearly priceless antiquities that probably had questionable provenance. Everything whispered of old money, old power, old secrets. The dining room was smaller than Bella expected, intimate even, with a table set for 3. Jihoon stood near the window, wearing a perfectly tailored black suit. But he wasn't alone. The older man from before, his father Kang Taeyong, sat at the head of the table, watching Bella with sharp, calculating eyes. Bella's heart sank. This wasn't just dinner with Jihoon. This was something far more complicated. And that's where I'll leave you for now. If you want to know what Kang Taeyong wants from Bella, what proposition is about to change her entire life, then you need to let me know in the comments. Tell me you want part 2 of this story. Smash that like button. Subscribe to this channel because Bella's story is far from over. In fact, it's just beginning. And trust me, you do not want to miss what happens when a Nigerian woman sits down to dinner with the Korean Mafia. I'll see you in the next one.